as Phoenix Grey looking like he's going for a second flying lap here on this opening run. Autron not improving through the first sector. I wonder if this is a second slow lap for Autron, just to give the tyres another chance to cool down. As the two Kick Saubers start flying laps now, so too the Aston Martin of Jonathan Corr and JK. But it's the two Ferraris that are coming to the end of a lap now. And it's Simon Levac heading to the pits. I wonder if whether Simon went for a second flying lap but couldn't improve on that 15.6. As Autron back to the pits as well. Phoenix improving by 15 thousandths of a second through the first sector. Beaton starting a new flying lap. So the two Red Bulls going for a couple of flying runs here at the moment. Smalley improving to a 16.5. Starting a new flying lap now. As who do we look for? We're looking for Phoenix Grey, who found 0.2 of a second through the middle sector, but a big slide through the final corner won't necessarily help him, but it does help him just enough to a 14.5 back to the top step. So it's Red Bull, McLaren, Red Bull, the top four at the moment, with the two Kick Saubers getting ready to put their lap times in. It's going to be the Dutchy, the first up to the line, looking to improve on a 15.9. Rounds turn 17 now. Dutchy to the line, does improve by 0.3 to a 15.6. Goes to P10. Damir 2/100ths of a second behind, 15.693, going to P11. As JK somehow splitting the two Kick Saubers in with a 15.675, 3/1000ths off the back of the Dutchy. So nothing splitting then really. Simon Levac down to Damir, just 0.05 of a second. Wes H on a flying lap at the moment. We're still yet to see Cam Mackenzie out on track with just under 8.5 minutes left on the clock. Smalley returning to the pit lane there. Down 94 on an out lap, looking to improve off that 15.3. Just having a look, I think that's the only driver down 94 starting that flying lap in a couple of moments. Cam Mackenzie now still in the pits. I thought that was the Mercedes heading down onto track. No, it's Daddy Cool starting a flying lap. So Autron back out onto track. Wes H set a 15.3 to go P5, 5/1000ths of a second in front of LA, as there's a bit of a traffic jam now heading down the pit straight. Hopefully they all get out of the way of Shane Boland, who is on a flying lap at the moment. He'll be picking up some slipstream though off the three cars in front of him. As Cam Mackenzie now makes his way out onto track for the first time today. 7.5 minutes left on the clock. Daddy Cool not improving through the first sector. As who just slid in a lap time? I thought I saw the timing screens move. No. Daddy Cool 9/1000ths of a second up on his previous best through the middle sector. Shane Boland found 0.2 of a second in the first sector. So both drivers right on the edge of safety at the moment. As Daddy Cool to the line finds half a second in the final sector, goes to a 15.5, goes up to P10 now. Shane Boland found 0.3 of a second through the middle sector. Winds his way through the last part of the stadium section, rounds the final couple of corners. Now we've got a yellow flag in sector 2 as everyone tries to sort out their positioning. Shane Boland improves by 0.42 and goes up to P8 on a 15.379. So we're looking for the slowest four at the moment, who are Smalley, Taz Manager, Autron and Cam Mackenzie, who has just started his first flying lap of the day. Autron running a little bit wide there out of turn 3 on this, on what I now presume is an abandoned lap. Taz Manager on a flying lap. Smalley out on track, getting ready to go again. So Damir right on the cutoff on a 15.6 at the moment. 9/10 clear though of everyone else, but can you truly feel safe at the moment? As who do we look for? Let's have a look. Let's see what Dino's doing at the moment. Dino not improving through the first sector, bailing on this lap. Dan 94 might have just improved to a 15.2 while I was looking at everything else going on to take P5 away from Wes H. Moomin Rider, currently on an improvement lap, finding 3.5 tenths through the middle sector up to the line now. Moomin Rider to secure his safety, 14.797, furthering his hold on P3. Shane Boland going for another flying lap. Simon Levac finds over a quarter of a second through the first sector. Still about the same through the middle sector. We've still got 5 minutes to go as Cam McKenzie throws in a 15.8 that sees him up to P16. So still in the drop zone at the moment. Damir heads out onto track. Simon Levac to the line. Does not improve, importantly. JK heads out onto track as well. Taz Manager on a new flying lap by the looks of it. Smalley as well to the first sector split, improving by 1/10.5. Smalley needs to find a good second here to get his way up into quali 2. As Phoenix Grey starting a flying lap as well. Shane Boland on an invalidated lap. Simon Levac will have a look at his middle sector split when he gets there. Damir starts flying lap. Cam McKenzie on another slow lap. He's got 4 minutes left, so we'll be able to get into the pits and back out as Taz Manager starts a flying lap now. So a number of drivers preferring 2 warm-up laps on each quali run, as Smalley now finding half a second through the middle sector. Now needs another half second to find in the last sector. Smalley to the line for the Haas car, improves to a 16.0, remains P17. Phoenix Grey to the line, starting a new flying lap. Aston Martin of JK now crossing the line to start a lap as Simon Levac returns to pit lane. 3 minutes 20 left on the clock. That could be cutting it a little tight if Simon wants to head back out onto track. Damir is finding a little bit of time through the middle sector at the moment. It's Damir now out of the final corner to the line. Damir improves by half a second, goes to P4, 15.1. There you go. So the track is rubbering in here, and all of a sudden, not everyone might be as safe as they thought they are as we look to Taz Manager, who has spun out in the S's in Sector 2. I was looking for Lil Drips though, who is starting a flying lap now just in front of the Ferrari of Autron, who is currently the slowest yet of anyone so far on that 17.1. The McLaren of Moomin Rider to the line, improves to a 14.6, remains in P3, beaten on an outlap at the moment. The Haas of Smalley getting ready to do one more flying lap. 2 minutes 15 now left on the clock, so got to be on track in the next few moments to get a lap time in. JK to a 15.0, going up to P4. So that just tells us just how much their track is rubbering in, and Cam McKenzie joins us out on track. So is the Dutchie Simon Levac. Daddy Cool starting a flying lap now. Lil Drips is finding a 10th through the first sector. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. As the snake tries to sort itself out. Lil Drips through the middle sector, still a 10th improvement. Taz Manager retires from the session. He is done in out of qualifying at the first hurdle. Dino is right in the mix of everyone on outlap, so this lap will not be counting for him. So who's coming around to finish a lap? It's Lil Drips returning to pit lane, bailing. So Lil Drips, his session is done on a 15.4. Adams retires on a 14.5, I should say, as the Ferrari of Autron crosses the line to go to P14 on a 15.633. That's going to be tight with people behind. Smalley not improving and getting himself invalidated on this lap. He will have time if he's got the battery to go for one more with a minute left on the clock. Everyone in the final sector at the moment. Beaten is probably the last car, is probably going to be the last car to cross the line before the flag, and is improving through the first sector, now through the middle sector. We'll have a look at his time split as he hits the timing beam for the middle sector now. Daddy Cool gets disqualified from the session. Beaton's improving by 0.3 of a second, so Daddy Cool disqualified for the session for blocking the pit lane. Means that he is out in quali as well, so now we're just looking for the slowest two, regardless of what anyone else does. And Beaton to the line improves to a 14.8, reclaims P4. Now it's the Ferrari of Autron on this invalidated lap. 10 seconds left. Autron returning to pit lane, so he is done and dusted. The Dutchie is improving by 0.8 of a second through the middle sector, so the Dutchie to get safe and comfortably make it through to quali 2. Cam McKenzie needs a good lap as well. He's found 0.3 of a second through the middle, through the first sector to the middle sector split. Is finding still that same 0.3. The Dutchie to the line goes to P7, 15.2. Wasn't a great final sector for the Dutchie. The checkered flag has fallen. So Cam McKenzie now going to be the next car to the line. Smalley is out. So can Cam knock out Simon Levac here in the Ferrari? What can Simon do in return? Cam to the line improves to a 15.3, goes up to P11. Simon Levac on an invalidated lap. So there we go. That is the end of quali. We know who are getting dropped out now. Simon Levac, Smalley, Taz Manager and Daddy Cool before eliminated in the first part of qualifying, and really the shock there, Simon Levac unable to improve after being pretty quick for the first few races of the season. Phoenix Gray and Adams the only cars in the 14.5s, Movement Rider 14.6, Beaton makes it 2 Red Bulls in the top 4 and a 14.8, and then everyone else was in the 1 minute 15s, but only 0.6 of a second from safety to P5, so that gives us some encouraging signs for the Grand Prix to come, just how close the field is. Now I want to find out from Daddy Cool what has gone on there, because he wasn't P13, he would have made it through to quali 2 had he not been disqualified. So Daddy Cool reporting that he spun out of the final corner, hit the pit wall and tried to not collect anyone else. That is why, and so decided to wait, and that's why the game disqualified him. Now the important thing, just while we look at the classifications there, Phoenix Gray, Beaton and Wes H all set their best lap times on a set of mediums, so we're still yet to see their true speed as we head in now toward quali 2. Where the times get reset, and we now look for the slowest of 5 to leave us with 10 for the pole position shootout. You all know how this goes, of course. Flag down the end of the pit lane, and no one straight away going out onto track in the first 15 seconds or so. But I say that, and there is movement in Mercedes, Red Bull and at Williams as Beaton Alley. Or say you see a little bit of pushing and shoving as Alley cuts off Beaton there in pit lane. I like the addition. I like that addition, EA, to the game where you get to see kind of the drivers hustling each other out in pit lane, as one of the Aston Martins, the second Williams and the Haas, the sole remaining Haas, all make their way out onto track. Phoenix Gray also out on track as well, right behind his Red Bull teammate of Beaton. It's not a particularly long track, is the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez, so there is plenty of time where you see everyone bunching up and there being a bit of a traffic jam to start flying laps. We saw that at the end of Q1 at the start of the stadium section, and we're going to see it again a little bit here, I fear, judging by where the cars are on our track map. We've got Movement Rider, Adams currently the last one heading out of pit lane. Most of the other cars though in Sector 2, at the end of Sector 2, start Sector 3 already. And it's going to be the Mercedes of Dan94 that's going to be the first car to set a flying lap time. As he now opens up the taps, buries the throttle, opens up the DRS now, and here we go. Dan 94 going to be accelerating up to 200, 210 miles an hour as he flies down the longest main straight on the F1 calendar, going in toward turn 1, hard on the brakes. A little bit too hard there for Dan 94 with that puff of smoke and a little bit of a lock-up, and now out of turn 3. It's going to be fun to see if we can check sector times. Dan 94 to the first sector split, 28.4. Lil Drips a car behind, 28.1, 3/10 improvement there for Lil Drips over Dan 94. Maybe that's a difference in setup or a difference in aero, because they're both powered by the Mercedes engines. And we are on equal cars. Of course, it's now Dan 94 into the S's section. There's Lil Drips, the car behind. Dan 94 through the S's now, coming up to the middle sector split. 55.9. Lil Drips to the middle sector split. 56.4. So it swung back in favour of Dan 94 here. Half a second to the good of the Williams through the middle sector. Now the final sector comes pretty thick and fast, and it spits you out in turn 16. Turn 17 doesn't really exist. It's a continuation of 17. Dan 94 to a 14.8 goes to the top. Lil Drips crosses the line on a 15.7. LA splits them also on a 15.7. Phoenix Grey to the top on a 15.3, on a 14.3. Beaten on a 15.2 on a set of medium tyres. Movement Rider 15.251, just sneaking in front of Beaton, just like he did all through Quali 1, as Cam Mackenzie now starting a flying lap. Stayed out of the way of everyone through their opening runs. Dino 15.4 goes to P5. Shane Boland 15.8 takes up the mantle that no one wants of slowest yet of anyone so far. RB Wes H going for a second warm-up lap. That's a 1 minute 30. So some hidden pace there in the RB for the moment. The kick Sauber of the Duchy to the line. 15.2 goes up to P5. 8 1,000ths of a second off the back of Beaton, and 23,000ths of a second off the back of Moomin Rider. Cam Mackenzie on a flying lap. Who was that just jumped a long way up the field? It was Adams going up to P2 on a 14.8. So just like it was at the start, there's a lot of McLaren and a lot of Red Bull at the top of the timing charts. JK starting a flying lap now. Cam Mackenzie toward the end of a flying lap. 56.3 through the middle sector for Cam Mackenzie. So be interesting to see where this kicks the Mercedes driver to in terms of the timings. As Cam now through 16 and 17 to the line. Cam goes to a 15.4, goes to P7. Just in front of Dino there at the moment. Ortron and Damir still in the pits. JK still on a lap 28.5 through the first sector. We'll follow JK now as he is the last car on track on a flying lap. As I believe we saw there, the first indication of Phoenix Grey's lap time on a set of softs. I believe that that 14.3 was done on a set of softs, so there you see it. JK now into the final couple of corners. Wes H has just put his lap time in of a 15.298 to going to P7, just ahead of Cam Mackenzie, and straight away gets beaten by JK on a 15.290. So another small margin there between those two drivers. Damir now out on track on an out lap. Everyone else back in the pits or on their presumably on their way to the pits after finishing laps. With just over 9 minutes left on the clock, and it's the two Red Bulls now rolling down pit lane that are going to take us back out onto track, and we're going to see the true pace of Beaton for the first time as he sticks on the sticker Reds Red Bull soft compound tyre. As Damir now around the final corner opens up the final corner and opens the DRS now to start a flying lap. Here his first flying lap of Quali 2. His teammate sitting quite happy up there in P6 on a 15.2. I'm sure that is where Damir would like to get himself, there or thereabouts. There's Shane Boland, another one on the way back out onto track. So too Dan 94. It's Dame through the first sector, 28.6 now. Through this little mini stadium sector at the start of sector 2. And now into the S's section. Dame now down into the middle sector split, 56.5. I've just been told by the Dutchie via the Twitch chat that he has done that 15.2 on a set of old softs, on a scrubbed set of softs. So the Dutchie might be hiding away some secret pace here for the final part of quali. As Dame now around the final corner to the line. Dame on a 16.5, the slowest yet of anyone to set a lap time so far. Shane Boland looking to improve on a 15.8 at the moment, just starting at that new flying lap. The Red Bulls coming through the first sector splits, and Phoenix Grey's going ever faster, improving by half a tenth of a second through the first sector. Beaton himself found a full tenth of a second through the first sector as they make their way now into the S's, do the Red Bull cars, and Beaton there sliding almost through turn 7. As Beaton now out of the S's in toward the middle sector split, improving by 0.6 of a second. That's a mighty middle sector there for Beaton. Let's have a look at Phoenix Grey's found a tenth and a half, but Beaton could be on for an absolutely flying lap time here as he now rounds turns 16 and 17. Coming up to the line, Beaton to a 14.4 goes up to P2. Phoenix Grey to improve, I would imagine, no, does not improve by 0.03 of a second, but still holds the front position at the moment. Dan 94 also on a lap, found 0.2 of a second through the middle sector as Wes H starts a flying lap there, now sitting in P9. Cam McKenzie on the cut-off point. Dan 94 improves to a 14.5 and jumps the McLaren of Adams. Shane Boland has put a 15.1 together and is currently splitting the two McLarens, sitting there in P5 in the Haas, in the sole remaining Haas in fact, as Cam McKenzie starting a new flying lap now as well, looking to get some ground between himself and Dino in the drop zone. Still yet to see a lap from Autron, who has just made his way out onto track with 5 minutes 40 to go. As the Aston Martin's duo of Dino and JK join us out on track, we're going to look at Wes H, who's making his way through the S's in the middle sector, coming up to the middle sector split, and is improving by 0.321 of a second on a 55.8. This could get him into the 114s here and get him comfortably into the top 5 as Wes H now rounds the final couple of corners. Opening up the last couple of corners, Wes H to the line to improve to a 14.7 in fact, goes up to P4. As Dan 94 makes his way back to the pits, so too does Shane Boland. Cam McKenzie, though, not improving, has bailed on this particular lap time. Now gets out of the way for the two Aston Martin cars. In fact, we'll be picking up a bit of a slipstream off the two Aston Martins. We'll be giving a little bit of one away to Autron, as Autron looks to get his first flying run in with just under 4.5 minutes left on the clock. Adams is out on track and on a lap and found 3.5 tenths through the middle sector now with just one corner to go. To the line for the McLaren team to propel himself further up the field, in fact propel himself to the front. 14.220. Adams taking away the top step for the moment away from the Red Bulls, as the Williams of Lil Drips joins us out on track again. Another car that there is only one of left in the quali session. Autron 28.399 through the first sector. Cam McKenzie is the car in front of Autron. The two Aston's just in front of Cam, and it's going to be Dino working his way through the S's. It'll be the next car to split a timing beam for us, and Dino through the middle sector split finding half a second. JK, the next car, finding 0.08 of a second. Cam McKenzie finds half a second as well. So some improvement coming in here from the Aston Martin cars. Dino now around the final corner. Turn 17 doesn't really exist. Dino to the line to a 15.069. JK to the line now, returning to the pits. In fact, Cam Mackenzie just about usurps Dino for a 15.047 for P6. And the Ferrari of Autron set a 17.1, so looking for a better time there from the sole remaining Ferrari. Damir starting a new flying lap to improve on a 16.5, finding 0.2 of a second through the first sector. Moomin Rider is on an outlap. All of a sudden that 15.2 might not feel very safe. The Dutchie's in the pits. We've got 2.5 minutes left on the clock, and Beaton is back out on track. Wes H improving at the moment, found a 10th through the middle sector. Will we see Wes H take the line? Yes, we will. So Wes H up to the line to improve by 0.3 of a second, goes up to P3, splits the two Red Bulls on a 14.482. Shane Boland, Moomin Rider, the Dutchie all on outlaps. JK back in the pits, will have time to get another run in if he heads out now. Ale in the garage as well. Who's that that's just jumped around in the timing standings? It was Damir setting a 15.0 to go up to P8. That drops down the Dutchie into the drop zone. Moomin Rider on the cusp on a 15.2. JK is back out on track. Ale, I think now might have left it just on the limit as he hits the track with 100 seconds, 1 minute 40 left on the clock. Autron's returned to the pits, so Autron is out at the second part of qualifying. That gives us now the slowest 4 that we're looking for, and Lil Drips improves to a 15.420 to go up to P13. Does have time to get round for one more run if he can save the battery to go again. The Dutchie starting a flying lap now. The two Red Bulls on track as well. Beaton starting a lap. Dino's retired from a session on a 15 flat. That could be brave depending on how much the track rubbers in, as Wes H with a minute heads back to the pit. So now eyes turn to JK on an outlap. So it's the Dutchie, it's a correction, it's the Damir also on an in lap. So it's Moomin Rider, the car behind, that is currently on a push lap. 55.7 finds half a second through the middle sector. Moomin Rider needs to get into the 114s to look safer. It looks like the cutoff point will be a 15.0, and Moomin Rider around the final corner to the line. Moomin Rider into a 14.6, going up to P6 in the McLaren, currently splitting the two Mercedes. Cam Mackenzie back in the pits on that 15.047, so too is Damir. So their qualifying sessions are done. Shane Boland found a little bit of time through the middle sector. 20 seconds left on the clock. Shane Boland, can he improve his position at all? Yes, he can. He can get up to P7 on a 14.9. Beaton goes to the top on a 14.202. The Dutchie returns to pit lane, so the Dutchie is out. JK is on a lap. So too is Ale. The checkered flag falls. Phoenix Grey into the 1 minute 13. So what a 13.879 takes the top spot away from his teammate. JK through the middle sector split, improving by 0.4 of a second. This could be enough to dock Damir out in the second of the two kick Saubers. The Dutchie was invalidated on his lap to improve off that 15.2. JK now around the final couple of corners to knock Damir out at the second part of qualifying. Does it, goes to a 14.8. Damir is out of qualifying. Now it's Ale, who found only half a tenth but is invalidated on this final flying lap. So that brings an end to quali 2, and the two Red Bulls sitting pretty at the top of the field, with Adams leading the best of the rest. Wes H in P4, Dan 94 P5, Moomin Rider 6th, JK 7th, Shane Boland P8. Cam Mackenzie makes it the two Mercedes, and Dino sneaking in 13,000th of a second to the good of Damir in P11. So we've lost now the two Kick Saubers, the two Ferraris, the two Williams, the sole Alpine, but we still have the two Red Bulls, the two McLarens, the two Mercedes, and the two Aston Martins all left, with the Haas of Shane Boland and the sole RB, of Wes H. It was Daddy Cool, and the other Alpine that was disqualified in the first part of quali. As there you see the final classifications. You see again just how small some of the gaps are between the drivers today. I'm looking forward then to some really close racing. Autron we didn't get to see a full flying lap of. Could he have improved and maybe snuck that Ferrari through? Or at least made his way any further up the field than P15. Bamboo, she in the Twitch chat agreeing with what I said at the end of last week. Adams being the only car being really able to rumble with the two Red Bulls, maybe putting them under a little bit of pressure. That is what won him driver of the day last week. That and his maiden pole position. Can he do it again here today? Just to mix it up and try and maybe split the Red Bulls on the front row. As we head now to the final part of qualifying for a 12-minute shootout for pole position. As we have the green light at the end of the pit lane, which means we go for quali 3. And down at the far end of the pit lane, it is the Mercedes of Dan 94 that leads us out onto track, beating out one of the Red Bulls and the second Mercedes, and then it's all go. Rolling out of pit road. Seven of the 10 cars already out of the pit garages. It's only Phoenix Grey, Wes H and Moomin Rider that still and Adams that still remain in the pit garages at the moment. Everyone else has rolled out onto the track. And it is Dan 94, the first car. As I say that, and Wes H now rolls out into the fast lane. And there's movement at Adams's McLaren pit garage, so that leaves us 9 of the 10 on the move at the very least. Phoenix Grey, it's Beaton, sorry, they're still in the pits. Phoenix Grey rolled down to track, and Beaton now heads down pit lane. But it's going to be Dan 94, the first car to set a flying lap time, and he's got Phoenix Grey, the ever quick, the ever present Red Bull car just behind. Try and see how much of a comparison I can do between Dan, Phoenix and Cam Mackenzie, the first 3 cars as they start their flying laps now on the very long run down toward turn 1. Hard on the brakes goes Dan 94, Phoenix Grey sitting just behind, picking up a nice slipstream here off the Mercedes as the Red Bull as they make their way up to the first sector split. Dan 94, 28.3, Phoenix Grey 27.9, Cam Mackenzie 28.1, so advantage at the moment going to Phoenix Grey by 0.2 of a second to Cam, who's got 0.2 over his teammate Dan 94, who we know is running a higher downforce setup because he's making up so much time through the middle sector. Didn't quite hit the apex of turn 7 it looked like, or at least had a bit of a slide on the way through. It's now Dan 94 to the middle sector split, 55.8. Phoenix Grey 55.4, Cam Mackenzie 55.8, so the Mercedes are matching at the moment as now Dan heads round the final couple of corners and up to the start and finish line to end the lap. Dan 94 14.6, straight away beaten by Phoenix Grey on a 14.1. Cam Mackenzie returning to the pits, bailed on the end of the lap. Dino on a 15.0, pretty much matching his quali 2 time. JK, the next car to the line, the second of the 2, Aston Martin's 15.0, so the 2 Aston Martins only split by 0.08 of a second at the moment. Moomin Rider goes to a 14.9 up into P3. Shane Boland has returned to pit lane. Wes H, the next car on track on a lap, and it's coming to the end of one. is the RB car. Rounding the final couple of corners, where can the Visa Cash App get up to? It gets up to a 14.2. Where's that pace been hiding? Half a tenth off Phoenix Grey. Adams now, the next car, has been close to the Red Bulls all the way through. Beaton still on a lap at the moment as well, let's not forget. Adams up to the line. 14.8. It wouldn't surprise me if that was maybe set on some used soft compound tyres, because we know he was 6 tenths faster than that in the middle part of qualifying through quali 2. Cam Mackenzie rolling back down pit lane on his second attempt at a first flying run. Beaten now around the final couple of corners to the line in the second of the Red Bulls. 14.3, just behind Wes H in P3, but it's 2 Red Bulls at the front. In fact, it's 3 Red Bull cars make up the top 3. It's Cam Mackenzie back out onto track. Shane Boland still in the pits after abandoning that first run. So anyone gone for a double lap? I would be surprised given it's quali 3. No indeed, everyone but now returning to the pit lane. Get on one last brand new spare set of soft tyres. One last chance to get one more chance to set one more flying lap. As Cam Mackenzie, currently the odd one out on track. 6.5 minutes to go. It's now Cam Mackenzie starts his second flying lap. Well, his second attempt at his first flying lap. Had to bail on the last one, but he was matched with Dan 94, so it could have been a mid 114 as he hits the brakes in toward turn 1. Beaton still out on track, going for back-to-back flying runs. And here they come back out onto track now. Phoenix Grey and the Aston Martin of Dino, the next 2 cars back out to track with just under 6 minutes left on the clock, so just over halfway through the session. And Cam Mackenzie 28.2 through the first sector, giving up a little bit of time compared to the last run we saw. Now through the middle sector S's. Look at how good that Mercedes looks at high speed, and now to the middle sector split. 55.7 has made up the time that he lost in the first sector, has Cam Mackenzie. And now into the final sector run through the stadium section. 5 minutes 15 left on the clock, so Cam, if he's quick, might just get back in time for one more flying run as he rounds the final corner. Now Cam to the line. 14.5 goes up to P4. Just 700ths in front of Dan 94. It's a little bit 2x2 there. 2 Mercedes, 2 McLaren, 2 Aston Martin positions 4 through 9. And the 2 Aston Martins, what can they do? Can JK find any more time? Shane Boland's back out on track. Still yet to set a lap time. Beaton returned to the pit lane after his newest attempt was invalidated. But Phoenix Grey starting a flying lap now, giving away a little bit of a slipstream to Dino, the car behind, as the second Mercedes, a Dan 94, rolls down pit lane. As we follow Phoenix Grey through, can he get back into the 1 minute 13s? Can he try and cement that pole position? Coming up to the first sector split, Phoenix Grey improving by nearly a tenth of a second through the first sector. 4 minutes left on the clock of qualifying. It's now Phoenix through turn 6. And there's movement there for the McLarens. Phoenix Grey though through the S's to end the middle part of the lap. Yellow flag sector 1 for down 94. Just getting up to temperature. Phoenix Grey still improving by a tenth of a second in the middle sector. But a little bit of a twitch there through turn 13. Now into turn 14, the big hairpin in the stadium. Turn 15 doesn't really exist. Turn 16 now, and Phoenix Grey returning to the pits. 3.5 minutes left on the clock. Will get one more flying run should he want it. Dino to the line, improves to a 14.472, goes up to P4. for the moment. Shane Boland is now on a flying lap. It was Adams that rolled down pit lane as the second McLaren and Aston Martin of JK and Moomin Rider come back out onto the racing track. Shane Boland invalidated on this lap. Does he have the tyres and the energy to go again? He's only got 3 minutes, so this realistically is his last run. Who is on a lap at the moment? Dan 94 returning to pit lane, did not complete the lap off that 14.6, or to improve on that 14.6. So now Adams around turn 16. Might have a little bit of traffic coming out of pit lane in the form of Beaton and Wes H. As through goes Adams now to improve on that 14.8. This is his new set of tyres. You get that new set, that final qualifying set in quali 3 of a set of softs. What can Adams do with it to improve on that 14.898? It's best we've seen so far is the 14.2. That would see him on the front row of the grid. Can the McLaren get that far up the field again into the first sector split? Not improving in the first sector is Adams, giving away 2/100ths of a second on his previous best, as now into turn 6 he goes. And we'll have a look as Shane Boland did start a new flying lap. Everyone rolling out of the pits. I'm not sure if everyone's going to get back in time to start a new lap. In fact, Dino is getting pushed back into the garage, so Dino is done, but Adams most certainly is not, and he's found 9/10ths of a second through the middle sector. Are we going to see Adams go into the 113s? Are we going to see Adam take away provisional pole from Phoenix in his last flying lap of quali? Adams around the final corner to the line, goes to a 113.9 into the 113s. That's massive. That now puts Phoenix Gray back to P2. Dino retires from the session. That 14.4 is his best and last lap time. Beaton starts a flying lap now. The next car will be Wes H, and then it will be Phoenix Gray. Shane Boland coming up to end a flying lap here, or at least and a second warm-up lap, start a new flying lap. Mercedes of Cam Mackenzie crossing the line now. So too is Jonathan Corrin to end a lap. Goes up to a 14.5, gets to P7. Moomin Rider sets in a 14.3, goes up to P4. So good improvement there for Moomin Rider as Dan 94 starts a flying lap as well. It's currently the Mercedes sitting in P8 and P9 with the two Astons just in front. Beaton found a little bit of time through the first sector. Wes H did not. Phoenix Gray, we didn't get a time corridor for, but we did see it go purple, so it looks like Phoenix Gray's improving. Beaton finds 32 thousandths through the middle sector. Wes H is still not improving, so this looks like the RB's session is done. Phoenix Gray to the middle sector split, improving by 900ths of a second. This isn't going to be enough, but it's Beaton now, rounds the final corner to the line. 14.2 goes up to P3. Wes H to the pit lane, will not complete this flying lap. Can Phoenix Gray now snatch back pole position away from Adams? Needs to find 2/10ths of a second in the last sector to do it. To the line, no he can't. It's a 14.0. Was half a tenth of a second off away, but it will still be the front row. Cam Mackenzie puts in a 14.243, goes up to P5. Who else is on a lap? JK is on a slow lap. Shane Boland got a 14.9 in there, but did not improve above P10. Dan 94 to the line. The last car, 14.4, goes up to P7, just in front of the two Aston Martins. That ends qualifying, I believe. Yes, it is. No one else is on a lap, or they're back in the pits. And it's Adams back on pole. Yet again, back-to-back poles for the McLaren driver. Phoenix Gray will line up P2. Half a tenth of a second. What's that? Is just over half a tenth. 59 thousandths of a second separate him from that number one spot. Beaton will start P3 on a 14.2, just seeing off Wes H and Cam Mackenzie, so very little separating those three drivers. Moomin Rider on a 14.3, Dan 94 14.4, beating out the two Aston Martins by not very much. Shane Boland rounds off the top 10 as we head toward the Grand Prix. There you see the final classifications. JK there, half a tenth off Dino, so not much splitting the two Aston Martins. Shane Boland, just as I say, rounding off the P10. As we have the time. The time there just getting confirmed by the league admins. Race start on the hour at 9 o'clock British time. So just about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes or so to lights out. Gotta say, folks, gotta open it up to the Twitch chat, those watching. What did we think of that hour of qualifying with Adams back on pole? How important is that going to be for the race to just try and disrupt the two Red Bull cars from running away with it? Wow, everyone going for it in the Twitch chat. So I'm still fact saying quali wasn't fantastic on his side in the Ferrari. Bamboo shoot, Adam surprising everyone. Cam McKenzie saying they were not happy with your quali 1, quali 2 performance. You made it through to quali 3 and you got it up into P4. So very respectable time there, or at least the top half of the top 10. RGS Man saying hello in the chat. RGS Man, how are you getting on, sir? As we just wait now for the clock to tick down, a 3-minute board has been shown. As the drivers get to sort out their strategies. Most of the grid last night went for mediums to hards, but those that went hards to mediums, I mean, Paco was absolutely dominant. Are we going to see anyone trying that again, depending on what happens in turn 1? Bamboo Sheet predicting potentially a 4-way fight for P1 through the Grand Prix. Between the two Red Bulls, Wes H and Adams. Bamboo, I think I'm going to agree with you on that one. Oh, yes, man, saying Paco. You would beat Paco. You're just sandbagging last night, were you? I can't remember. Forgive me for saying it, RGS, but I can't remember where you came back in last night. It was about the top 8. Cam McKenzie, I'm sure you'll get up there, mate. Your race pace is usually pretty good if you can keep it clean and keep it out of the barrier off the start-finish line. What was it? You made about 50 metres last week before spearing into the barrier right in front of where the camera was. As the 1-minute board now gets shown, so the drivers have their final conversations with the race directors. Saying got Dutchy in front on the grid. man, didn't you have a pretty good recovery drive though? I swear you got spun round at the end of kind of the first few laps and then got back to it. Cam McKenzie saying that he's going to make it more than 50 metres before hitting the wall on this time. Simon Lefac promising drive for some points, or at least an attempt to drive for some points. Good luck to the Ferrari car, starting in P16 there. As the time hits 0 and we get ready to go racing for the Mexican Grand Prix. The Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez, round 4 of season 5, as I just make sure that it is indeed round 4. Just to make sure that I've not gone mad. IGS man reckoning that Phoenix is going to run away and dominate the Grand Prix. Hopefully not. We'd like to see a battle going on here. Sorry, I do know that if I go to the race director, my issue is when I usually go to race director on a stream, I get kicked out of a lobby. It was an old glitch on F123 that you couldn't get on. If you were spectating, you couldn't look on race director. Otherwise, you just get locked on the race director screen. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait for my options when it appears on the timing tower. And then at least it also leaves a little bit of mystery for kind of those that aren't racing. As here we go now, the formation lap about to get underway, and it looks like that's a white-walled set of hard compound tyres on the Red Bull of Phoenix Grey, just as he was pulling away there. No, it wasn't. It was a set of mediums. It's mediums for the top three, with Wes H on row 2 starting on a set of hards. Moomin Rider, the car behind Wes H on P6, also on a set of hards. Both Kick Saubers on row 6 going to line up on a set of hards, and the back 3 rows of the grid, the back 2.5 rows of the grid, Simon LeVac, Smalley, Tasmanager and Daddy Cool all on a set of hards. So it's a much more mixed strategy than we saw last night in the podium division. Bananarama is saying hello in the Twitch chat and is joking that he is indeed alive on a Tuesday night. Well, just like I was alive for last night on the Monday night. And Bananarama comes over to have a look at the Tuesday night league. It's through the middle sector, the snake winds, and Moomin Rider thankfully isn't going to get penalised for dropping too far back, as it looks like he would be. Possible race strategies there being shown by the power of the Amazon World Service AWS. Let's be honest, when the lights go out, anything can happen, so let's not wait for the computer to tell us anything. Bananarama said he's got a race at 9:30, which is in just about half an hour, so Bananarama, good luck to you when that race gets underway. IGS man asking what league. Yeah, Bananarama, let us know and I'll come over and support you in a little bit, as now we wait for the grid to form up. PRL is the league. Wes H gets disqualified for some bad parking. So too Shane Boland in P10. We wait for Shane's teammate though. My controller dies and it's lights out and away we go, and I've missed another flying start from Phoenix Grey as my controller died. Absolute disaster for the commentary box team, but Phoenix Grey is leading the way down in toward turn 1, jumping Adams on the off the start line. Beaton's in P2, Cam McKenzie up to P4, getting ahead of Wes H, who's now under pressure from down 94. Moomin Rider is in P7, fighting JK for P8. Shane Boland's made a place up to P9 ahead of Dino. LA P10. Both Kick Saubers have gone backwards. Simon LeVac's up to P13 from P16 on the grid, and now trying to go up the inside of Lil Drips at turn 5. Gets it wrong, goes round. There's a Mercedes, the Alpine of LA got caught up in that as well, and LA falls back down to P19. IGS man asking, is Phoenix the host of the lobby again? Yes, he is, and it was another flying start for the Scotsman. Shane Boland's had a spin through the middle sector and dropped back now to the back of the field as Phoenix Grey through the stadium section going to lead us on to lap 2. And Phoenix Grey leading the way from Adams and Beaton, the top 3, and Beaton in the wheel tracks of Adams, already going to try and go for a move before the use of DRS comes into effect, and he gets it done, and he's up to P2. Smalley's got ahead of Damir further back. JK's got ahead of Moomin Rider. Adams later, I thought that was Adams, but that is Moomin Rider going late on the brakes into JK. No contact made, thankfully, there. Shane Boland's returned to the pit. Simon LeVac's up to P12. but is having to fight off his Ferrari teammate of Autron as he heads into turns 4 and 5. Shane Bolan, early pit stop for the Haas car onto a set of hard compound tyres. He'll try and go long now as Alele gets ahead of Tasmanager out at turn 5 into turn 6. Alele, after that early spin, has got a job to do to make up for his poor, by his standards, qualifying position. Meanwhile, up in the front of the field, it's a 6-car train that makes up kind of the leading battle. Cam Mackenzie, though, beginning to let a bit of a gap form to the leading 3 and trying to put a bit of a gap back to Wes H, who, as a reminder, is on those hard compound tyres. They'll take longer to warm up, but they will go longer into the race. Is beaten now. The new purple lap, with the help of DRS, will be going for the lead on the run down toward turn 1. Beaton makes it 2 positions in 2 laps, and he leads the way now from Phoenix Gray. Adam's gone back to P3 off the start. Cam Mackenzie sitting there in P4 waiting to pick up the scraps. Wes H there, P5. Got Dan 94 right behind. They both have DRS. They were both inside the 1 second window. Dan 94 though has got the inside line into turn 4. Goes deep and late on the brakes. Now can block off the apex at turn 5. Can Wes H go for the old up and under? Not quite on this occasion. Dan 94 up to P5. The Mercedes making moves at the start of lap 3. JK holding off Moomin Rider and his teammate Lil Drips. They're sitting there in P10. 2 seconds back to Simon Levac, who's got half a second on the Dutchie. Simon, a big mover and shaker from P16 to P11 in the first few laps of the race so far. LA now on the back of Smalley and Damir in the battle for P14, with Danny Cool having Tasmanager just behind. Damir's getting ahead of Smalley into the stadium section, running out wide. Could Smalley try and fight it the long way round? Not quite on this occasion. New purple lap for Beaton of 16.7 as he now leads the way from Phoenix Gray, but now everyone else has DRS on the Red Bull driver as they make their way down the long main straight in toward turn 1. Nothing changing for the top 3. Dino very close to the back of Moomin Riders. They hit the apex. Alele's got ahead of Damir and Smalley. That's Smalley with no front wing. I wonder if there was a little bit of contact down the main straight, and he's got a long way to go to get that back to the pits to get a new one. It's Daddy Cool and Damir. Damir is out ghosting there for the moment. I wonder if he's trying to give the place back to Smalley, feeling bad maybe for whatever happened. Lil Drips has got ahead of Dino. Not sure what happened there, but because Dino was right on the back of Moomin Rider, but Lil Drips now up to P9 in the Williams. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, they make their way into the stadium section. The 2 Red Bulls, the lone McLaren and the 2 Mercedes battling for the top 5, with Wes H just outside the 1 second window and falling away a little bit into JK and Moomin Rider as they make their way through turn 17 and 18. Wes H got an awful run. JK's got an absolute flyer here. JK now, with the help of DRS, blasting past Wes H and is up into P6. Phoenix Gray has got back ahead of Beaton with the help of DRS on the run down toward turn 1. JK up to P6, holding position now. Slightly further back, Dino going the long way round on Little Drips, back up into P9 as Simon Levac is holding station there. As Damir into the pits as well. Damir retiring from the session. I wonder what has gone on there for the Kick Saubers. Now that leaves us with just the Dutchie left. Autron just falling a little bit off the fight that his teammate Simon Levac is having with to get into the points at the moment. As Alele already the first penalty awarded of the day for track extending. As JK fallen away, not able to get inside 2 seconds, inside the 1 second of the leaders. As there was a yellow flag there for a moment in sector 2. Not sure what for. I can't see any major moves in the timing screens. Meanwhile, Beaton and Phoenix Gray once more rounding the final corner, hauling along the McLaren and the 2 Mercedes. Down the front straight they go, and it looks like there's going to be a move here between the 2 Mercs. Dan 94 making use of the overspeed and going up the inside in toward turn 1. Dan 94 up to P4, further back Wes H challenging JK, but he's a little too far back on this occasion. Yellow flag in Sector 2, as that looks like quite a tasty battle as Little Drips, Simon Levac and Dino go 3 wide into turn 3. 3 into 1 doesn't go, but it's Dino leading out of there as Movement Rider has spun out of the exit of 3, and he's now dropped down to P14. So Dino up to P8, Simon Levac P9, Lil Drips is in P10 at the moment as they make their way through turns 4 and 5. Ortron P11 holding off the Duchy, who is now battling with Movement Rider and Alay. As the leaders make their way back toward the stadium section, the front 5 looking pretty confident up front. 2.5 clear now of JK and Wes H as they make their way once more through the stadium section. Simon Levac has just sent one up the inside of Dino. You see the end of the move there. He's back up into P8 now. He said he was going to try and drive for points. Lil Drips picks up a 3-second time penalty. Phoenix Grey's trying to run away with it a little bit here, but Adams is going for the move on Beaton, the first of the Red Bulls to succumb to the McLaren at the moment. In the background you can see JK and Wes H having their little battle. Wes H with the power of the DRS looking for a move up the inside. JK nice and late on the brakes holds the position for the moment. Lil Drips has got ahead of Dino. Dutchy's got ahead of Ortron into the first corner. Shane Boland's picking up a 3-second time penalty. It's all going on here. Lap 7 of 36 for round 4 season 5 of the MSC Clubsport Division Mexican Grand Prix, and Phoenix Grey leading the way from P2 after a great start, and he's now going to try and run clear of the rest of the field, but now he's got Adams the car behind instead of Beaton. There can be less tactics between the two Red Bulls. We saw it a lot last week with DRS swapping down the long straights in Miami. Will Adams offer the same support to try and drive away from everyone? Ortron picking up a 3-second time penalty. Simon Levac getting ahead of JK. JK's had a spin through the middle sector. He was sitting very comfortably in P6 but has got it wrong on this time around. Looks like he doesn't have much of a front wing left as well from the helicopter shot. You can see there a missing end plate, the left hand side end plate from the driver's perspective, as Alay tucked up behind Ortron. That'll be the battle for P12. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead goes on, and Dan 94 now making a move on Beaton as they make their way through turns 1, 2 and 3. JK back to the pits. Cam McKenzie has dropped off the leading battle somewhat. That gap at 2 seconds now between himself and his Mercedes teammate, but that red light blinking there shows us that Cam McKenzie is just saving some battery, and I wonder, will he make another charge in a couple of moments time? Wes H now with some clear air in front and behind him. Those hard compound tyres, he can settle into a groove and go as long as he needs to in the Grand Prix. JK back out onto track with a new front wing and a new set of hards, and away he goes in P16. Only the two Haas cars behind. Up at the front though, it's all pretty tasty still as they make their way back toward the stadium section. The two Red Bulls, the McLaren and the Mercedes of Dan 94. So they make their way now in towards 16 and 17. Round the back of the baseball stadium, down the main straight they come. Phoenix Grey 6 tenths to the good. The Dutchy's got ahead of the Dino for P9. Cam McKenzie's into the pits here. This is very early for a pit stop. What tyres is he going on to? It is a set hard, so Cam McKenzie going long in his second set. Lil Drips into the pits as well. 10-second time penalty for speeding in the lane for Lil Drips as he heads in, gets a new front wing and a set of hards as well. Adams has taken the lead while we were following Cam McKenzie's adventures in the pit lane. Adams gets ahead into P1 of the two Red Bulls. So back where he started is the McLaren driver. And now what can he do about the two charging Red Bulls and the flying silver arrow of Dan 94? Movement Rider's got back ahead of Dino. That is for P8. He's now tucked up behind the Dutchy. Simon Levac has ditched that crowd. He's 4.5 seconds to the good of them in P6. 3.7 off the back of Wes H, who is now 4.3 off the back of Dan 94. With Cam McKenzie in the pits now. We know the undercut is powerful around here. The young tyres able to deal with the middle sector and the final sector much better than older tyres, as Adams now will lead them round turn 17 to start lap 10 of 36, and now it's his turn to fend off the strength of the DRS down the front straight. And is Dan 94 here shaping up a move on the second of the two Red Bulls and Beaton. It's going to come from a long way back if he goes for it. No, he's too far back on this occasion. Dino into the pits in the Aston Martin for what is presumably a set of hard. So the medium tyres not lasting very long today in Mexico City. As Dan 94 gets ahead with the help of a good run from turn 3 on the run up toward turn 4 and some DRS, gets up into P3, splitting the Red Bulls. Simon Levax just picked up a 3-second time penalty for track extension. Shane Boland now picking one up as well. Moomin Rider's getting ahead of the Dutchie into the braking zone at 4. He's back up into P7. They're both on a set of hards and they're both looking to go nice and long into the Grand Prix. As Beaton, it has to be said, falling away a little bit from the back of now the leading trio. We've got a yellow flag for the sole remaining kick Sauber of the Dutchie, who's come a cropper in the middle sector as the leaders make their way through the final corner of the lap. Onto lap 11 of 36 we go. Phoenix Grey tucked up behind the McLaren, Beaton into the pits for Red Bull onto a new set of hards. That looked like quite a late call as the team was still running out. Phoenix Grey though with DRS gets ahead of Adams. Dan 94 might be shaping one move up as well, but he's too far back on this occasion. Beaton comes out hopefully just in front for him of Autron as they make their way down the front straight. Beaton gets up to racing speed now, could do with some clear air. There is Daddy Cool. Where is Beaton? There is Beaton. Daddy Cool going to sit just behind Beaton by the looks of it as the Dutchie tries to fend off Cam McKenzie. He's going to go sweeping around the outside at turn 1. Gets the job done lovely. Cam McKenzie, after that early pit stop, back up into P11 and try to make his way back up through the field. Meanwhile, up the front, Phoenix Grey leads Adams from Dan 94. So they make their way in toward the middle and final sector. Dan 94 going for a move there, and there's contact. That looked a bit day late and $1 short for the Mercedes car. Gets it back under the way. I hope there's no damage caused to either himself or the McLaren, but that was definitely a late move on the brakes, as now Adams through the final corner with the help of DRS could go for a move on Phoenix Grey after fending off the attack from the Mercedes. Beaton's got back ahead of Autron. That is for P8 as Beaton makes use of those new hard tyres, and he's inside a second already of Moomin Rider as he tries to carry on his charge back to the front as the leaders make their way through turns 1, 2 and 3. We're going to have a look at Moomin Rider trying to fend off the flying Red Bull of Beaton. Meanwhile, Autron and Daddy Cool doing battle as well with Cam McKenzie just behind. Beaton's got the move done on Moomin Rider. Autron going to hold off Daddy Cool and Cam McKenzie as they all make their way into turn 1, the 5 cars of them. P's positions 7 through 11, and Dino right up behind the Dutchie down the front straight. The Dino going to have to go the long way round, but he's too far back on this occasion to make a move of it. Up at the front though, Phoenix Grey still leading as we head in toward the final sector of lap 12. We're 1/3 of the way through the Grand Prix. And a lock up there for Adams into the stadium section. These two now that they're clear of Dan 94, holding him at 2.8 seconds back as round the final corner they come, and Adams much closer than he was last lap around. Adams now with the help of DRS going to retake the lead of the Grand Prix as we head on to lap 13. Getting the move done there. McLaren gets back to the front of the field. Cam McKenzie dispatched Daddy Cool somewhere in the lap. Now he can do a number on Autron as they make their way around the final corner. Beaton sets a new purple lap of the Grand Prix. Cam McKenzie with the help of DRS surely going to make this move look nice and easy on the Ferrari. Down toward turn 1. Yep, there you go. Cam McKenzie on the inside, on the brakes. No, Autron going to try and fight it back. He's got the inside at 2. Cam McKenzie having none of it though. He's back up into P9 and he's now free to try and close down the gap to Moomin Rider, who is still yet to stop. Those that are yet to stop, the leading 6, beating the first car that has stopped. Dutchie and the Dino still carrying on their battle that we saw a little bit of a lap ago, and this is now let JK and Lil Drips get involved, and JK now has got the outside line on the run up toward turn 4. He's going to go late on the brakes. There might have been a little bit of wheel banging there between himself and the Dutchie as Lil Drips and Dino, and it's 3 abreast, and there might have been a spinning car there, I'm not sure. Yes, Dino had a moment, falls to the back, is still behind the Dutchie. Lil Drips makes up ground. Dan 94 heads to the pits in the Mercedes. That's for a new set of hards, as Phoenix Grey currently sitting behind Adams, closing his DRS very early manually there. It looked like Little Drips with a 3-second time penalty. Alay into the box as well for Alpine. Where is Dan 94 going to come out? Through goes Cam McKenzie, a movement rider. Here comes Autron now down the front straight. It could be close between Autron and Dan 94 as they're heading toward turn 1, as Dan tries to warm those hard compound tyres up a little bit. Alay back out onto track on those set of hards, will come out just in front of JK and Little Drips, who are carrying on their battle from a lap ago, as the Dutchie and the Dino carry on theirs, and Dino, with the help of DRS on the inside line, should be getting that move done. Little Drips and JK remained as they were as they headed into turn 1. Dino back up to P15 in front of the Dutchie. Cam McKenzie now on the back of Moomin Rider as we swing through the S's section. Dan 94, the car behind on fresh hards compared to the 4-5 lap old hards on Cam McKenzie, and the 2 leaders are into the box. It's a race of pit lane between McLaren and Red Bull, the 2 fastest pit stopping teams. Hards for both drivers, and away they go, and this could be tight on pit exit, and Adams just about holds off Phoenix Grey. Good stop there from the McLaren boys to hold the lead. Beaton, though, has undercut them both by quite a considerable margin. In fact, where a Moomin Rider and Cam McKenzie, as they make their way down the pit straight, they're going to, at least one of them is going to jump one of the 2. Cam McKenzie, with the help of DRS, going to pick up a triple slipstream here off the mall as he gets Moomin Rider, and now Cam McKenzie settles in behind Phoenix Grey, and that's important because that now puts a car between Moomin Rider and Dan 94, Cam McKenzie and Dan 94, and extends Cam's advantage for the moment on those warmed up hard compound tyres. Phoenix Grey still sitting behind Adams though, but they're 4.5 seconds off the back of Beaton, who's still 5.5 off the back of Simon Levac. The 2 leaders at the moment, Wes H and Simon, yet to make a pit stop in this race, and Wes looking pretty comfortable out front for the time being. It's on the run down toward the stadium section. Shane Boland picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting and causes a yellow flag at the end of the main straight as the leaders make their way through the stadium section. Adams rounds the final corner. Phoenix Grey sitting just behind. They've dropped Cam McKenzie here, so Cam won't have the benefit of DRS, unlike Phoenix Grey has, so he's going to be much more vulnerable to Moomin Rider down this main straight. But Phoenix Grey retakes Adams for what is now a net P2 because Beaton is a further 4 seconds up the road. Can these 2 work together and use their fresher hard compound tyres to close that 4.5 second gap down and usurp Beaton of the win? Moomin Rider stayed behind Cam McKenzie. JK's right up the back of Alay and is bringing Little Drips and Taz Manager along with them. Shane Boland, another 3-second time penalty. Dino is dropping the Dutchie pretty quickly. Smalley there in P17 after that broken front wing on lap 1 will need to stop again. Those mediums won't get to the end. As Wes H into the stadium section one more time, lap 16 of 36. He will like to go at least another 5 laps, I reckon, before pitting on to the medium compound tyres. So too Simon Levac, and all of them yet to stop. Beaton gaining a second a lap though on the 2 leaders. The gap now down to 3.3 as he makes his way around the final corner. 17.5 his lap this time around. What lap time can Phoenix Grey do? 17.0, half a second gained for Phoenix on Beaton this time around. Adams, with the help of DRS though, will be retaking that P4 on track for the moment. Dino's got ahead of Taz Manager in the stadium section. Cam McKenzie's holding off Moomin Rider, who is falling back into the clutches of Dan 94. Autron to the pits for Ferrari. Onto a set of hard compound tyres, and away he goes. Lil Drips having a spin out of the final corner and into the pits. He's broken off the front wing. This will probably be a new set of mediums then for Lil Drips to get to the end of the Grand Prix. Now he retires from the session, calls it a day. So we're down to 17 drivers remaining at the moment. That's Beaton now 1.8 off the back of Simon Levac. Adams 3.8 off the back of Beaton. That gap coming down as well. That will be one to carry on thinking about. Tasmanager picking up a 3-second time penalty for track extension. Lil Drips leaving the session. Phoenix Grey still tucked nicely up behind Adams. These two have dropped Cam McKenzie. That gap now at 2.7. Moomin Rider still holding off Dan 94 at the moment. The gap of 2 seconds between himself and Cam. As round the final corner they come. Dan 94, this won't take long, I am sure, for Dan to blast past. He's already getting it done by the time they hit the DRS zone. Phoenix Grey's got ahead of Adams as well on the run down toward turn 1. Again, that's for net P2. The gap now at 3 seconds between this pair and Beaton up the road. JK picks up a 3-second time penalty as he's still sitting behind Alay, but trying to close that gap down with the help of DRS. The gap at half a second as they make their way down the front straight. In the background, that could be a battle I saw going on there. No, it was just the Williams of Tasmanager and the Dutchie behind JK. Now out of turn 3, does he get a good enough run with the help of DRS to have a look into turn 4? It'll be from a long way back. No, JK just a little too far back on this occasion, but gets a little deep on the brakes and goes into the rear diffuser of Alay. Gets it loose and spins it round, but carries on in the right direction. JK just costing himself there 2.5 seconds in racing time with that move. Beaten now inside a second of Simon Levac. Here we go, the new tyres versus the old tyres. Beaton has closed that advantage down, and Phoenix Grey 1.7 off the back. Adams 1.1 off the back. Phoenix Grey taking the purple lap for the race, and here we go with Beaton and DRS. Was Adams inside? No, Adams was out of the 1 second window, so it looks like Phoenix Grey trying to drop Adams as quickly as possible now. Beaton through turns 2 and 3 just needs to pick up a good run here and could have a very good chance for a move into turn 4. Here we go with the help of DRS having the inside line late on the brakes. Beaton up to P2 now on track. He's still leading the Grand Prix when, as we wait for Wes H and Simon Levac to make a pit stop. Dino's got ahead of Daddy Cool. JK 3.2 now off the back of Alay after that half spin earlier. The Dutchie into the pits for a set of mediums, I am presuming. Yes, it is a set of mediums and a new front wing for the Kick Sauber team. Beaton already 1 second clear of Simon Levac, who's got Phoenix Grey for company, who's bringing along Adams again, so that 1 second gap that he had a lap ago was just a fleeting fancy, as Adams and Phoenix Grey for so much. How much of the last couple of races have they been separated by less than a second? Phoenix Grey though with a good run. Simon Levac had a wobble through the final corner and is almost getting out of the way of the two behind, so we've got a yellow flag in sector 3. That is for Cam McKenzie, who's got it wrong through the final corner. I can't see if he's got damage. It looks alright, that front wing, but he's dropped now back behind Dan 94. Phoenix Grey and Adams both got past Simon Levac on that lap, and now they're inside the 1 second window of Beaton and they're free to attack. The Red Bull in front. Simon Levac picks up a 3 second time penalty for good measure as he loses 2 places in one straight. As the Williams of Tasmanager now heads to pit lane, it wouldn't surprise him if we see Wes H and Simon in the pits in the next couple of moments, as the gap is now only 2.5. How quick will their new medium tyres be though, and where will they come out? They'll want some fresh air, hopefully clear of Alay. That would be, I presume, the dream for Wes H and Simon Levac when they hit the pits, as Tasmanager comes out in the middle of the 2 Haas cars, just behind the 2 Haas cars. In fact, there you see it for yourself. Shane Boland leading Smalley, Tasmanager and the Dutchie, as Wes H into the pits now for RB. So Beaton takes the lead from Phoenix Grey, and Adams, Simon Levac into the pits as well for Ferrari. Both will go on to a set of medium tyres, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Phoenix Grey is going to retake the lead from Beaton, who gives it up and is going to slot back in to stop Adams getting any sniff of a position. Cam McKenzie still sitting at 2.5 off the back of Dan 94. Yet to pick up a penalty though is Cam. That is important. Wes H back out onto track on a set of medium tyres. Out in front of Ale. Importantly, Simon Levac coming out just behind the Alpine car. Moomin Rider into the pits and back out as well on a set of mediums, coming out just behind the two Aston Martins, who yet again have found themselves close to each other on track, with Dino inside the 1 second window of JK. Ortron's got ahead of Daddy Cool, who's also into the pits for a set of mediums for the Alpine team. The Astons have swapped positions. Daddy Cool will come out ahead of the two Haas cars. Beaton picks up a 3 second time penalty for track extension. And now surely his job is to act as a rear gunner to separate himself, to separate his teammate Phoenix Gray and the McLaren of Adams, and just help Phoenix to extend his, or to take the championship lead, extend the constructors lead. As here we go now, Adams with the help of DRS. Beaton was too far back, so Adams gets up into P2. Maybe Beaton just doesn't have the tyre life anymore. The couple of laps that Phoenix and Adams went for the overcut paying off here, it would seem, and Adams now straight away has dispatched one Red Bull and is right onto the back of the other. Simon Levac now inside, or just on the fringes of a second off the back of Ale. That will be for P7 when that move comes. Wes H 7.3 off the back of Cam McKenzie, who's still 2.8 off the back of Dan 94. Between, that's the gap between the two Mercedes. Moomin Rider right on the back of the two Aston Martins though, with the help of DRS. Moomin Rider gaining, but not quite gaining enough on the brakes. Into turn 1 they go. JK ran out a little wide. That's going to put him on the back foot on the run through turn 2 and 3. And now is Moomin Rider close enough for a move with the help of DRS and Slipstream on the run up toward turns 4 and 5. He's going to the inside. He's going late on the brakes. Moomin Rider up the inside at turn 4, has to go the long way round at 5. Cam McKenzie picks up a 3 second time penalty. Moomin Rider up to P10 and is dispatched one Aston Martin. Now he's free to engage the second one. Cam McKenzie, that 3 second penalty is going to hurt him penalty count wise if he wants to get past his teammate down 94. Adams now is free to engage Phoenix Gray in a duel for the lead, and right now it's Phoenix Gray still winning this one. At the moment we have Simon Levac right up the back of Ale. That is the move for P7 going on as we cut to it. Simon Levac with the help of DRS makes that move very easily and is up to P7. He's now 2.8 off the back of Wes H, so he's made a little bit of time up through the pit stop window. That gap was at 3.5 if you remember just before, as Moomin Rider with the help of DRS gets past the second Aston Martin. He's up now to P9, 10 seconds off Ale. That would be a pretty tall order to chase down with 14 to go. Meanwhile, Adams and Phoenix Gray 1.7 already the gap between themselves and Beaton. It looks like these two might be driving away with it. I say that, and Beaton finds 0.3 of a second on the way into the stadium section, so maybe not here, folks, as through the final corner they come. On to lap 24 of 36. Adams with DRS again. Are they going to swap lead this time around? Yes, they are. Adams taking that front position for the moment. It'll be his turn for a couple of laps to punch a hole through the air and help them both along. It's very IndyCar driving, very much like the Indy 500 between these two, sharing the responsibility of the lead. They don't want to waste their tyres or their fuel too much by forcing a hole through the air for the other car, so they'll take it in turns and help each other out extensively. The Dutch here, the TAS manager, tucked up behind Shane Bolan. It might not be for a points paying position, but it's a battle no less important than any other, and Shane Bolan currently holding off the Dutchy as TAS manager locks up and goes deep. He's on a new set of mediums though, so too is the Dutchy compared to Shane's quite old hard tyres now, as they make their way around the final corner, and the Dutchy could be going for a move here in a couple of moments time. As they make their way down the front straight, the Dutchy with DRS blasting past Shane Bolan up for P14 there in the background. You see the battle for the leaders as Adams now relinquishing the lead from Phoenix Gray, who is delaying the use who is using the DRS to his advantage, signalling to Adams when the move is coming, when he wants to do a lap in front, when he wants to stay behind for a little bit. We saw him close it manually earlier in the race, a long way before the braking zone. So there you go. The work being done by the two leaders as they extend the gap out now to 3 seconds to Beaton in P3. Still got 8.6 back to Dan, who's got 3.9 now to Cam McKenzie. Wes H 4.3 behind 4.0 now behind Cam McKenzie. Yellow flag, sector 2. That's for Shane Boland coming across. He's about to fall a lap down as the Smalley has made a pit stop. Sam Levac has gained time on Wes H. He's 1.8 now off the back of the RB car. There you see how much that gap is closed. And so we could be seeing a battle for P5 in the not too distant future as Shane Boland retires from the Grand Prix altogether. As now around the final corner they come. Adams 6/10 off the back of Phoenix Gray. Down the front straight they come. One more change for the move with the help of one more change for the lead with the help of DRS as Smalley picks up a 3-second time penalty. Adams is gaining, not quite gaining enough in toward turn 1 this time around as they wind through turns 1, 2 and 3. Plant the throttle, open up the DRS once more. Adams still sitting, going to take a second lap behind Phoenix Gray. Wes H now 3.3 behind Cam McKenzie. Of course, all the time he's gaining is through the corners with those younger medium tyres, younger and softer tyres. Samuel Levac 1.6 as well, gaining some time on Wes H too all the while. Moonman Rider is 9 seconds off the back of LA at the moment. In that battle, I wondered if Moonman Rider would try and chase that gap down, but otherwise he can keep penalty clean and inherent positions that way. We saw it yesterday just how powerful that could be. Wes H now 2.8 off the back of Cam McKenzie. The gap at the front still 6/7 of a second as they make their way around the final corner and head on to lap 27 of 36. 10 to go here at the Mexican Grand Prix, and it's Phoenix Gray and Adams breaking free, 4.5 to the good of the rest of the field. It feels like this is becoming a bit of a two-horse race as the leaders make their way down toward turn 1. And the status quo is continued. JK picks up a 3-second time penalty, another 3-second time penalty, I should say. Let's have a look at the penalty count, in fact. And there you see 3 apiece for Beaton, Dan and Cam, 6 for Simon Levac and LA, 3-9-3 for Dino, JK and Ortron, 3-3-6 for Dutchy Tasmanager and Smalley. So those without penalties: Phoenix Gray, Adams, Wes H, Moomin Rider and Daddy Cool. We'll come back to that in a few laps time toward the end of the race when it really will matter, the aggregate that you can gain and lose. Wes H now under 2 seconds behind Cam McKenzie. Simon Levac further 1.2 up the road, 1.3 up the road off the RB, and you can see again just what that means. Another couple of car lengths on that little short straight from turn 6 to turn 7. As the leaders once more make their way around the final corner, turn 17 onto the main straight, and Phoenix Gray this time going a little bit defensive. I wonder whether this time he wants to give the lead up, he wants to let Adams have the lead for a little bit. But no, Adams just too far back on this occasion. But that was Phoenix Gray going defensive there properly for the first time. I wonder if he's going to start maybe believing that this is going to be a battle that they start fighting instead of it just being a gentlemanly code of conduct. As Wes H now inside 7/10 of a second off Cam McKenzie. Maybe those mediums, he maybe made that pit stop a little too early onto those hard compound tyres to Cam. They're 20 laps old now and they've still got another 9 or so laps to go. As Wes H next time around will get DRS, so too will Simon Levac as he's inside a second now of the RB car. So looking through the rest of the field, no other battle other than the one for P5 and the one for the lead at the moment, and it's Phoenix Gray through the stadium section once more from Adams as Wes H and Cam McKenzie swap positions through the S's. That's just sheer tyre advantage then surely for Wes H. We saw it off screen, we saw the move on the timing tower however, but can Cam fight it back on the way into the stadium section? No, he's too far back. Those hard compound tyres must be really dying on the Mercedes cars. Simon picks up another 3-second time penalty for track extension and gets a bit of a slide on coming out of 15. That looks mighty impressive car control from the Ferrari, but now down the front straight, Cam's got the DRS. He can close that gap, he can retake that P5, and this is going to help Cam's teammate here, Dan94, extend the gap out as through goes Cam with the help of DRS. Back up into P5, Phoenix Grey held off Adams for the lead, but as I was saying, the battling here, if Cam can hold off for another lap or so, give Dan another half second in race time, that will just mean that Wes and Simon have that much more to do to get another position each respectively from the Mercedes team. So some good work here being demonstrated by Cam Mackenzie, who's elected to take up a rear gunner's role for Mercedes at the moment. Toto Wolff will be, I'm sure, quite happy with that one. Meanwhile, Adams and Phoenix Grey once more through the final corner. The two-horse battle continues, and Phoenix Grey, usually we see him hug the pit wall. This time he goes for a little weave trying to break the slipstream. This time however, Adams is going to take the lead. Onto lap 30 or 36 we go, and it's another change for the lead. Adams gets up in front of Phoenix Grey with 7 to go, and we're now going to look back for the battles for P5, and Dan 94 has lost about 1.5 seconds on this lap somewhere, might have had an error, but Cam Mackenzie 4.2 now instead of 6 seconds, and Wes H and Simon Levac, the 2 cars behind the Mercedes, and Wes H is gaining, but he's too far back. It's a very wide entry into turn 1, but he was too far back to try and send it very late on the brakes. But now out of turn 3, maybe that tyre advantage coming into play, and he's going to get another bite of the DRS, but he's going to be forced a long way round into turn 4, but he doesn't need it. But Cam Mackenzie's so confident on the brakes, and now Wes trying to line up for the old switcheroo, has to go defensive from Simon Levac, who runs out very wide out of turn 5 through turn 6. Now he's going to have the drive because of that running out wide. He just opens up that turn 6 corner, but no, it's all as they were as they make their way through the S's once more. Meanwhile, up at the front, Adams has put a second on Phoenix Grey on this lap. Are we going to see potentially Adams going to try and drive away with it? No, Phoenix Grey was just inside the 1 second window as they went through the detection zone, and so Phoenix can now close that gap up once more. There in the background, 9.5 the gap between these two and Beaton as they hit turn 1 once more. Up at the front, up in the battle for P5, the battling's so intense as that they've lost another 2 seconds on this lap to Dan 94. Surely though, Wes H is close enough this time. Simon Levac as well, sitting right in the wheel marks of the 2 in front, and Lay's just there as well. Wes H though gets ahead into turn 1, and now it's Simon Levac's turn, but Simon went deep into turn 1, and now he's offline through 2 and 3. He's going to have a big job to do if he wants to try and get the move done into turn 4. Dutchy picked up a 3-second time penalty further back in the field. He's in P14 at the moment, but no, it looks like now Wes H is free and clear of Cam Mackenzie. Needs to put half a second on him in the back half of the lap to confirm that, and then he's got 5.8 to gain in 6 laps on Dan 94, or get inside the penalty zone as Cam Mackenzie picks up another 3-second time penalty. That puts him on 6, I believe, if the count is still correct. Meanwhile, up at the front, Phoenix Grey, as we're on to 32 or 36, 5 to go here, and Phoenix Grey back to the front of the Grand Prix after another flying start at the top of the piece just when my Xbox controller died, which is where I plug my mic into. Phoenix Grey back to the front though. Cam Mackenzie now stayed somehow inside a second of Wes H. Wes 6.2 off the back of Dan 94, so Cam is able to close the gap. Simon Levac though, energy dumping to try and have a go. He's going to have to go the long way round at turn 1. Too far back on this occasion to have a go on Cam Mackenzie for P6. As now through turns 1, 2 and 3, looks like Simon's got a decent run there, and he's got the DRS once more, but so too does Cam Mackenzie, because he was inside the DRS detection, that 1 second window out of turn 15. He's able to hold off for yet another lap, and Wes H still has some time to find and a job to do if he wants to try and chase down for P4. Meanwhile, the leaders back under the bridge at the end of the stadium section, going to lead us round the final corner onto 33 or 36. Adams 7/10 the gap now. Simon Levac, another 3-second time penalty, going to cost him time at the end of the Grand Prix. Adams 4/10 and gaining. I think these two now, the gloves are going to come off, and it's going to be for proper this time. No more tactics, no more building the gap. They want to get the scrap over and done with. The fight is on. So let's turn and burn for the front. Meanwhile, the battle for P5 still going on. Wes H 5.9 behind Dan 94. Autron picks up a 3-second time penalty. Cam Mackenzie gaining. Are we going to see three abreast? Yes, we are. As here comes Simon Levac up the inside at turn 1. Simon gets it stopped just on the brakes. Doesn't go into the side of Cam Mackenzie. Wes H loses 2 positions in one corner as Simon gets a help of the ghosting to complete that move, and now on the run out of turn 3 toward turn 4. Wes H sits there in P7 with the help of penalty count, though he will re-inherit that P5, but losing those 2 positions could cost him getting P4 as the Dutch has got ahead of Danny Cool, and through goes Alay out of nowhere. Wes H seemingly now on the back foot, and Alay rather opportunistically the inside of turn 6 gets the job done. He's up to P7 now. Battle at the front of the field goes on. We've got 3 laps to go. Adams has got the DRS as they head down toward turn 1, and there's some lap traffic up the road. That's Danny Cool and the Dutchie, and I wonder whether they're going to try and time this right, these two, as they pick their way through. So easy to lose time in lap traffic. Meanwhile, Cam Mackenzie, can he hold off Simon Levac now with 3 laps to go? There is the penalty count once more. 3 for Beaton and Dan, 6 for Cam, 12 for Simon Levac, who's drifting through turn 1, 6 for Alay, none for Wes or Moomin Rider, 3 for Dino, 9 for JK, 6 apiece for Autron and the Dutchie, 3 for Taz and 6 for Smalley at the back of the field, none for Daddy Cool, who's getting out of the way of the leaders, both of whom sit on no penalties as the leaders make their way through the stadium section. And now, because Phoenix Gray timed it right, I think he'll pick up the DRS from the ghosting car of the Dutchie, but Adams got a better run through the traffic, and now he's free to engage, and Alay has had a spin through the middle sector and he's run out wide and he's in the wall. Both the leaders have got DRS. They're squeezing each other to the inside line. Adams has got it though, the left hand side as they hit the brakes in toward turn 1. Can he get it done? No, Phoenix wants to go dancing around the outside. He's going to be deep at 2. Adams goes back around the outside. He's got the inside line at 3. Can he now get the run from 3 toward turn 4? Phoenix is going to have the outside line, the racing line. Can he go late on the brakes? But he's going to try the switch back to the inside line, but he's too far back. But this gives him the high ground though, because he now will have the DRS for the last time through the main straight, the front straight. Wes H has got ahead of Simon Levac, and Alay has fallen behind Moomin Rider. He's back down to P9. It looks like he's picked up some damage there, missing a section of his front wing. I hope there wasn't any contact. We didn't see it, but we just saw the yellow flag while we were following the battle for the lead that is now going into the stadium section for the last time, or for the penultimate time I should say. The next time they come through here, there will be fireworks going off, and we will, I'm sure, have a race winner as Adams now goes through. Wes H has picked up Cam Mackenzie, who has had a issue going into the S's. That's a interesting place to have a crash. The battle for the lead though has come down to the last lap yet again, just like it did in Miami. And now Phoenix, with the help of DRS, does he have the energy to make the move? He's going to have to go the long way round. He's going to be on the racing line as they hit the brakes, and yes, there you go, Phoenix Gray round the outside, back up into the lead of the Grand Prix. What can Adams do about it though? He won't have DRS down this straight. Phoenix will just be able to drive away from him in a straight line unless Adams has the energy. There's one more DRS zone, there's one more overtaking spot, and it's into the stadium section as the leaders make their way through 4, 5, 6 now, and Adams finding every inch of track he can, every millimetre of advantage to try and get the win back. as they make their way through the S's. It looks pretty even. Adams gaining almost a little bit through the S's. This could be exactly what he needs for a final lap lunge into turn 13. He's gaining. Is he close enough for the move? No, he's not. Now into the stadium section, the fireworks are going off, but the race winner still isn't decided yet. There's one more proper corner to go, but I don't think Adams can get the move done. So Phoenix now just needs to focus on the acceleration. He rounds the final corner and he wins the Mexican Grand Prix by a matter of car lengths from Adams. That came down to the wire. The Dutchie crosses the line in P14. Thanks to the penalty count that he has. So Daddy Cool will take P13. Beaton now will come home. P3 from Red Bull. It's a double Red Bull penalty once again, but he lost 18 seconds to the leaders. Dan 94 comes home for P4. Wes H has got ahead of Simon Levac and Cam McKenzie and will come home a very well-deserved P5. Simon picks up another 3-second penalty. So Wes H, P5. There is Cam McKenzie getting it wrong through the final corner. Moomin Rider might still pick up an extra point here as he gets up to P6 as he gained time on both Cam McKenzie and Simon Levac thanks to their penalty count. Ale drops behind Dino, who will come home for 2 points for Aston Martin. Ale rounds off the points paying positions. There's JK coming home in P11, and Autron, the last car that was not lapped, crosses the line now. P12 for Ferrari. There we go. What a race, with the leaders taking it right down to the last lap. It could have been a last lap lunge into the stadium section. Simon Levac gets the in-game driver of the day, going from P16 to P8. Let's have a look at the final classifications, but first it's the podium celebration. And there is Phoenix Grey back on the top step of the podium, back into the lead of the championship, and the Red Bull team extending their lead in the constructors' standings. There is the final classifications, as I say. Phoenix Grey from Adams, beaten P3, down 94. Wes H, Moomin Rider, Cam McKenzie, Simon Levac did get points that he promised us, but with those 15 seconds of penalties, that cost him a P6 position at the end of the day. Dino P9, Ale P10, JK, Autron, Daddy Cool, the Dutchie, Tasman, Smalley, the bottom four all were lapped. Shane Boland, Little Drips and Damir, the 3 DNFs of the day. The last thing I've got to do is pick a driver of the day, and it's going to go to Simon Levac. A great drive going from P16 to P8. Some great overtaking racing, and a bit of a shame that he lost so much time due to penalties. But Simon Levac gets the extra point for being my driver of the day. Folks, thank you so much for watching, both tonight and last night, for those of you who were there on the podium division. I hope to see you all again very, very soon. I'll be back next week, I believe, back to the schedules Tuesday night, 8 PM, so same time as today. But for now, I'll see you all again very, very soon. But for now, good night and goodbye.
Feels like I'm basics. What hit me, what hurt me, what made me? Cause maybe this life is worth saving.